Part 31. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 302. Linfeng and Ye Ziyi went downstairs together. Ye and Hongying quickly left here. Sitting in the large living room, Linfeng felt empty. He was very puzzled. Could it be that such a big villa doesn't even have a nanny? The sound of footsteps came from the entrance of the spiral staircase. Linfeng looked in that direction. He saw a beautiful woman walking down the stairs with graceful steps, walking towards him with a smile on her face. The charming woman who suddenly appeared made Linfeng's eyes dazzled, and his brows also wrinkled, and asked her, "Who are you?" The woman said, "I'm the nanny here. Miss Ye calls me Sister Wang. You can also call me Sister Wang." This woman has a beautiful face, tall breasts, slender legs, and a visual height of about 170. Judging from her age, she should be around 35 years old, and she is fully qualified to be his sister. It turned out that this luxurious villa not only has a nanny, but also a very charming and exquisite beauty. Linfeng had seen a few charming beauties before, but Sister Wang was undoubtedly the best among them. In terms of beauty and temperament, he was definitely incomparable to his landlord Shang Yunjuan. Linfeng and Shang Yunjuan have been stupefied many times, knowing that Shang Yunjuan is a famous weapon that is very refreshing to be staggered. Maybe the visual impact caused by Sister Wang was too strong, and he couldn't help thinking whether Sister Wang was a famous weapon. Although she has never experienced the taste of Sister Wang's body, Linfeng thinks that more than 90% of Sister Wang may be a top-quality device. "Hello, Sister Wang." Linfeng wanted to calm down, but he still examined this stunning woman from top to bottom. Sister Wang sat beside Linfeng and surrounded him with the light but nice scent of perfume. At the same time, Linfeng also recognized the smell of Sister Wang's skin. Sister Wang's skin is very delicate, and her skin smells good. Linfeng said, "Actually, I don't want to live here, but Ye insists on letting me live here for 10 days, and I don't know what her purpose is." Sister Wang smiled and said, "When you live for 10 days, you will naturally know what her purpose is." "You ask me. I can't tell you anything." Linfeng heard it. Sister Wang knew Ye's intention, but she couldn't tell him that Sister Wang must be very loyal to Ye, otherwise Ye wouldn't let her be a nanny here. Linfeng didn't plan to embarrass Sister Wang. Linfeng lit a cigarette and smiled, "Has Ye mentioned me in front of you before?" Sister Wang said, "I haven't mentioned it much. But it's not that I haven't mentioned it at all. Once Ye and 2 friends came over and talked about Kung Fu, and then seemed to mention you, saying that your Kung Fu is very good, especially you. The leg work. It can be described as mysterious, and as for other aspects, it seems that it has not been mentioned." Linfeng suddenly felt that the question he had just asked was redundant, but he had already asked it, and Sister Wang answered him. Linfeng smiled and said, "Are you good at Kung Fu?" Sister Wang said, "Since you are a Kung Fu master, your eyesight must be very unique. You have looked at me with very special eyes just now, so do you think I can do Kung Fu?" Linfeng is very embarrassed. The special look that Sister Wang said just now is probably the look of hunting. After a few simple chats, Linfeng felt that Sister Wang was a very simple woman. Ye Ziyi herself was a very rich and wealthy young lady, and it was not surprising that her private villa nanny was the best. Linfeng said, "According to my observation, you shouldn't be able to do anything. But it doesn't rule out that you can use some kind of self-defense." Sister Wang said, "Self-defense, I usually use anti-wolf electric baton and anti-wolf spray to defend myself. Of course, if necessary, Ye will also provide me with bodyguards." Linfeng was puzzled. Could it be that Ye let him stay here for 10 days to be a bodyguard for Sister Wang? Linfeng smiled relievedly, "I already understand what's going on. It must be Sister Wang, you have been in danger recently. So Ye let me live here to protect you." Sister Wang looked at Lin Feng's face with a smile, and said sweetly, "Are you from Hungtu Company?" Lin Feng said, "No." Sister Wang said again, "Then are you the subordinate of boss Yeching Chen?" Lin Feng said, "No." Sister Wang said, "So even if I really need bodyguards, Ye I won't ask you to protect me. Do you think boss Ye has no masters?" Lin Feng was even more embarrassed than before. His face was even a little red. He was already a man who had enjoyed the bodies of several women, but he made a charming woman like Sister Wang blush. Lin Feng said in his heart that even if Yeching Chen had many masters, those people might not be as skilled as me. Sister Wang said, "So, yeah let you stay here for 10 days, and there is another purpose. After 10 days, you will naturally understand, but if you want to keep guessing, no one can control you, because very few there is one person who can control the minds of others, isn't there?" This Sister Wang's mouth is really powerful. Anyway, she has nothing to say about her eloquence, but Lin Feng didn't know whether Sister Wang's mouth would be very powerful if she kissed her passionately or solved it for a man. Sister Wang smiled at Lin Feng and walked away. Lin Feng found out again that Sister Wang's back was very beautiful, and her hips were very large and upturned. Before she knew it, Lin Feng had been living in this luxurious mansion for a day, and nothing unusual happened. It was Sister Wang's charming charm and good body fragrance that greatly stimulated Lin Feng. Although he and Sister Wang were alone in the big villa, the hormones were flying all the time. Whether it was seeing Sister Wang sweeping the floor, washing clothes, or making tea, Lin Feng's body would stand up straight. Sister Wang washes all her own clothes, including coats and underwear. Lin Feng also wants Sister Wang to wash his clothes, but she doesn't know if Sister Wang will do it for him. In fact, he can also wash his own clothes. After he came to Beijing, he washed most of his clothes by himself. In the past, sisters Shang Yunjuan and Shang Yuna washed his clothes, and Dainan also washed his clothes. If he can wear the clothes that Sister Wang washed for him, he will have a great sense of accomplishment. Sister Wang shouldn't do anything, just sit quietly on the sofa and watch TV. The dignity in the charm can stimulate Lin Feng's sensitive nerves. Even if another man comes to get along with Sister Wang, she will be very excited by her. Tender, when necessary, Lin Feng's endurance is beyond imagination. Another afternoon. The sun radiated fiery light to the fullest, and the weather was very hot. Sitting in the Fengnan fashion store, although wearing a fan, both Danan and Tian Qingzu were sweating. The reason for sweating was not only because of the hot weather, but also because they were all in a hurry. They didn't know where Lin Feng had gone, and were afraid that he would be in danger. When Dang Nan thought of calling the police, she received a call from Lin Feng. Dainan said anxiously, "Lin Feng, where have you gone? Qingzu and I are very worried about you. Qingzu has cried several times, and I am afraid that you are in danger." In fact, Dainan also cried several times, but she didn't want Lin Feng to know that she was crying, she just wanted to let Lin Feng know that the beautiful bamboo was crying. What flashed in Lin Feng's mind were the wonderful figures of Dainan and Tian Qingzu. He smiled and said, "I am in a very mysterious place, but I have not encountered any danger. I will go back in a few days, none of you need worry about me." Dainan finally breathed a sigh of relief, at least she knew that Lin Feng was still safe, because Lin Feng's voice didn't sound like he was hurt, and it was a little relaxed. She said, "Qingzu is by my side, you can chat with her for a while." "Okay," Lin Feng said. Dainan handed the phone to Tian Qingzu, but Tian Qingzu didn't know what to say for a while, and after a while, he choked up and cried. Hearing Tian Qingzu's cry, Lin Feng felt very uncomfortable. He said, "Qingzu, don't cry, nothing happened to me, and I'll go back in a few days." Tian Qingzu said, "Did you hide because you didn't want to see me? I didn't say I had to be your girlfriend, what are you hiding? If you don't even want to be friends with me, I can resign from Fengnan Fashion Store." At this time, it was the turning point in the relationship between Lin Feng and Tian Qingzhe, and Lin Feng suddenly disappeared. Even if Tian Qingzhe had such thoughts, it would not be surprising. Lin Feng said, "You misunderstood, I am not hiding from you. In fact, I really want to see you, but I have a very special thing to do these days, so that's why I will treat you to dinner when I go back." Tian Qingzhe was much happier than before. She could already be sure that Lin Feng was not hiding from her, but she was overhearted. She burst into laughter, and asked again, "You really didn't hide because it bothered me?" "Ah." Lin Feng said, "I wish I could see you every day, and I wish I could kiss you every day." Tian Qingzhe was very shy and said coquettishly, "Brother Feng, you are so bad, I won't talk to you anymore." Lin Feng chatted with Dinan for a while, and then hung up the phone. After a while, Lin Feng heard a knock on the door, walked over to open the door, and saw Sister Wang in a short one-piece dress. Her beautiful face is filled with a charming smile. A large piece of snow-white skin is exposed under her neck. Her tall hold up her short one-piece skirt, but her lower abdomen is very flat, and most of her slender legs are all exposed. It can be described as a superb spring. Lin Feng lost his mind for a moment before smiling and said, "Sister Wang, are you looking for me?" Sister Wang said, "Aren't you the author of online novels? I want to read the novels you wrote." "Okay, then come in," Lin Feng said. Sister Wang walked in, and Lin Feng's room was soon filled with an intoxicating fragrance. Although the bodies of the two did not touch, Lin Feng felt a kind of heat. Lin Feng sat on the chair and turned on the computer. Sister Wang sat beside him. Sister Wang's chest was very large, and Lin Feng's elbows might touch Sister Wang's chest if she was not careful. At the same time, most of Sister Wang's slender legs were exposed, and her skin was fair and tender, which made Lin Feng always want to touch it. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 303. If Dinan was sitting next to him, his hand would have been put up long ago, and he might have touched the part of his pants. Although Lin Feng has never been with Dinan, he has touched Dinan's wet spots many times. In the past, when his hand touched Dinan's wet place, Dinan's graceful body would twist, sometimes groaning happily, and sometimes shouting wildly. But sitting next to him is Sister Wang, the nanny of Miss Ye's private villa, and a woman he doesn't know very well. Sister Wang's appearance is not inferior to Dinan's, and it has a unique charm. Lin Feng naturally wants to eat Sister Wang's tofu. Such a charming woman, even a little hug will be good. Enjoy, but he doesn't understand Sister Wang's character, so he can't do rash things easily. Offending Sister Wang is equivalent to offending Ye. When it really came to the critical moment, Lin Feng would not be afraid of Ye. The big deal was a violent confrontation, but now Ye regarded him as a friend, and it was far from the step of a violent confrontation. Lin Feng opened his novel and looked at Sister Wang's beautiful face. "This is my novel." Sister Wang smiled and read it carefully. "It's been written for so long, it seems that you have a lot of imagination. Oh, the data is really good, I admire you very much." Lin Feng said, "I have nothing to admire. Writing this is just a joke for me, and I never thought about being a writer." Sister Wang said that many things are inadvertently intertwined. You don't want to be a writer, maybe you will become a writer. Compared with other themes, I think good novels are real literature, including plot and drama. The literary talent is rich in content, and the creation is also very difficult. Lin Feng said that our views are similar. His body moved slightly. His elbow really touched Sister Wang's chest, probably because his movements just now were a bit violent. The softness was very real, and at the same time he heard Sister Wang's delicate cry, "Oh ah." The "oh ah" that came out of Sister Wang's mouth instantly made Lin Feng feel dry, and he even wanted to immediately put Sister Wang's full body in his arms and savor her red lips. Taste her breasts, taste her wetness, taste her charm. But Sister Wang is only a woman he has known for less than 2 days. He has no reason to eat Sister Wang's tofu, and Sister Wang may not be willing to let him eat tofu. Linfeng smiled awkwardly. I'm sorry, Sister Wang. I ran into you just now. He also said in his heart, I don't blame the two of us for being too close, only that you are too big, and your pair of full take up a lot of space. Sister Wang didn't seem to hear Linfeng's voice of apology just now, and continued to read Linfeng's novel with a light smile on her face. Sister Wang turned the pages very quickly, but she was not just watching flowers. She is very good at reading. Linfeng said, you must have read a lot of books. Sister Wang smiled and said, I like reading very much, and I have read a lot of novels, but I have never read original novels on the internet before. I found your novels to be very good, maybe I will continue to read them. Linfeng said, it's good that you are not disgusted. Sister Wang said, how come? Linfeng discovered a detail. Sister Wang seemed to be sitting a little further away from him, because Linfeng found that Sister Wang's chest was far away from him. He was sure that Sister Wang's did not shrink in a short period of time, so she just sat away from him. I didn't see Sister Wang move the chair, nor did I see Sister Wang's body move, but she just stayed away from him. Sister Wang saw an ambiguous passage, very subtle but very artistic, and the light smile on the corner of her mouth became more obvious. Ms. Wang said, you are very good at writing ambiguity. It seems that you have played with women a lot before. Linfeng said, if I said I was a first-time boy, you would definitely not believe me. Ms. Wang said, if you were still a first-time boy, Yezi I wouldn't have brought you here, because your ambiguity with some women annoyed her. Linfeng was speechless. He wanted to tease this beautiful woman, but he didn't know what to say. An hour has passed, and Sister Wang is still reading Linfeng's novels. Sister Wang's reading speed is indeed astonishing, which makes Linfeng, who thinks he reads fast, have to admire. At the same time, Sister Wang's charm has always stimulated Linfeng, making him want to play a hooligan, but he can't play a hooligan to Sister Wang easily. Endure in intoxication. Intoxicated with patience. Linfeng was even more puzzled. Could it be that Miss Ye let him live in this villa just to accompany Sister Wang? Is it because Sister Wang really needs a man and Ye loves her dearly, so he made him do this? Linfeng hopes that this is the case. If this is the case, he will be able to eat Sister Wang's tofu, and Linfeng does not want this to be the case. If this is the case, Miss Ye is using him. Linfeng said, Sister Wang, what does your husband do? Sister Wang was stunned for a moment, then smiled relievedly, if I told you that I don't have a husband, would you believe it? Linfeng said, I haven't looked for it, or have you left? Sister Wang said, I didn't want to talk about this at first, but I have a very good impression of you. It's okay to tell you. I left. 5 years ago, when I was 30 years old, I left. It seems that Sister Wang is really 35 years old this year. Linfeng's guess is accurate. He said, that man's brain is simply wrong. A beautiful woman like you is willing to give up. Sister Wang didn't seem to want to talk about this issue. She didn't answer and continued to read Linfeng's novel. More than 2 hours have passed. Linfeng's body has always been tall and straight, but he did nothing to Sister Wang. It was an accident that his elbow touched Sister Wang's chest. Besides, he was even slender and soft. No hands were touched. Sister Wang glanced at the time, smiled and said, it's time to make dinner. When the leaves are not here, I usually cook it for myself. When you come, it's for the two of us. What do you want to eat? Vegetable. Linfeng has already tasted the dishes made by Sister Wang, and knowing that her cooking skills are not ordinary, he smiled and said, Sister Wang, I like to eat whatever you cook. Sister Wang said, you really know how to speak. Lin Feng said, sincere. Sister Wang said, can your kid know how to cook? Lin Feng said, no. He said in his heart, to do that, I am an expert in cooking, and I am a layman. I like to eat other people's dishes and do my own love. Sister Wang said, come with me. Yaya doesn't allow you to write letters in her villa anyway, so you can do it for me. No problem. Lin Fengzin said, if you ask me to cook with you, wouldn't you just be afraid that I would take the opportunity to code words? The kitchen is very spacious and luxurious. Even such a kitchen is meticulously crafted. It can be seen how much Miss Yezi cares about her private villa, and it can also be seen that Yaya is indeed a person who enjoys life very much. Woman. Lin Feng washed vegetables according to Sister Wang's request. Sister Wang cut vegetables very well. With the rippling of her hands, her graceful and plump were also rippling, especially those towering breasts, which were like dancing. Lin Feng has been admiring Sister Wang's beauty from the corner of his eyes. Whether or not Sister Wang finds out, he doesn't want to miss such a wonderful spring. Lin Feng said, where are the washed onions? Sister Wang said, I'll cut the plate here soon. Lin Feng stretched out his arm and put the onion. Sister Wang seemed to be worried that Lin Feng would take the opportunity to touch her chest, so her body moved a little, and her round buttocks hit Lin Feng's leg, which was quite strong. The electric current made Lin Feng's body numb. Lin Feng didn't know if Sister Wang was numb just now, but he was numb anyway. Sister Wang didn't mean to apologize to Lin Feng, but Lin Feng's hand slapped Sister Wang's buttocks, not too much force but made a small noise. The kitchen knife in Sister Wang's hand swayed at Lin Feng, and said angrily, if you dare to eat my tofu, I will chop you up. Lin Feng was embarrassed and said with a smile, it was you that touched my leg just now. The reason I slapped you was to remind you to apologize to me. Sister Wang put down the kitchen knife and smiled, if I apologize to you, can you eat both of those onions? If it is necessary, let alone 2 onions, even 5 onions, he can eat them, but now he doesn't want to eat onions, and he has never eaten raw onions before. He said, I don't eat it. Sister Wang said, if you don't eat, I won't apologize to you. Lin Feng laughed. After a while, Sister Wang also laughed, okay, just pretend that nothing happened just now, don't have any evil thoughts on me, you kid, or I will complain to Yaya. Yaya is very good to me, if I know you after eating my tofu, she will fix you severely. Maybe Yezi will be very angry after he eats Sister Wang's tofu. Yezi will think, what the is going on with your kid, how can you eat beautiful tofu wherever you go, see if I don't cut off the source of your sins. After a few dishes were ready, they were a bit homely and very distinctive, but they smelled very fragrant and tasted even more fragrant. Sister Wang brought a few dishes to the table and brought a bottle of very high-end red wine. Lin Feng and Sister Wang sat at the dining table together. Sister Wang said, there are a lot of good wines in the wine cabinet in this villa, all of which are brought from Leaves. I can drink whatever you want, since you live here. Come in, then you can accompany me to drink. Lin Feng said, how is your alcohol intake? Sister Wang said, it's all right. Lin Fengzin said, if your alcohol intake is as big as your chest, then I have no problem drinking it. The 2 goblets touched each other. Lin Feng was not very good at tasting red wine, but he could feel it in his mouth. It was indeed a good wine. I am afraid that the price of this bottle of red wine has exceeded 10,000 yuan. Lin Feng said, the dishes you cook are really delicious. Sister Wang said, eat more if you like it. Yaya often says that the dishes I make are delicious. Lin Feng said, you must have many strengths. Sister Wang said, I never felt that I was special, and I never felt that I had any success. I walked step by step, enjoyed the scenery step by step, and then lived like this. To be continued. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 304. This meal, Lin Feng was immersed in the intoxicating aroma. Sister Wang is too beautiful. Lin Feng didn't want to look at her face too much, so as not to let himself endure too much stimulation, but between the toasts, he still looked at Sister Wang. Face, and many times, Sister Wang's charming face seems to have some kind of magic power. The more she looks, the more attractive she is. Both Lin Feng and Sister Wang have a taste for alcohol, and in this state, it is more delicious to appreciate Sister Wang's charming and beautiful face, but Lin Feng intends to stay away from Sister Wang a little. Sister Wang sat on the sofa in the living room, her two slender legs leaning together, worried that Lin Feng would see her trousers. Lin Feng also has to guess what color and style of trousers Wang Ji is wearing, whether the trousers can well protect her soft and moist part, and are there any clues already revealed? Sister Wang turned on the large screen LCD TV and watched it. What she was watching was a high-definition channel, and the image was very clear. What was going on was a TV series about emotional life, which was full of the absurdity and pursuit of young people. Lin Feng really wanted to sit next to Sister Wang and chat while watching TV. This would be very artistic, but he didn't dare to sit next to Sister Wang, for fear that he would not be able to control himself to eat Sister Wang's tofu. At this time, he was alone with Sister Wang. He was a strong man with strong desires, while Sister Wang was a charming and hot beauty. If it was an ordinary beauty, he might be able to calm down, but when Sister Wang is so angry, it is easy for him to make mistakes. Lin Feng said to Sister Wang and then walked upstairs quickly. Looking at Lin Feng's back, Sister Wang said in her heart, "It seems that the stimulation I brought to your kid is not light. I don't know much about your kid, but I found your kid quite interesting, especially when you are in the kitchen. You actually slapped my ass, it's just courting death." Since the divorce, no man has touched her buttocks, although Lin Feng's hand clapped it. But it is also equivalent to touching her ass. Lin Feng did not go back to the room on the second floor, but went to the third floor and started to practice kung fu. Sister Wang went up to the second floor after watching TV for less than half an hour and knocked on the door of Lin Feng's room. Without a response, she could immediately conclude that Lin Feng was on the third floor, perhaps exercising or practicing kung fu. Lin Feng heard footsteps and knew that it was Sister Wang coming up. But he didn't stop, kicking the sandbags frantically one by one, making the heavy sandbags shake violently. Sitting on the rattan chair next to her, Sister Wang watched Lin Feng practice kung fu. She didn't say anything to him, but looked at him very seriously. More than half an hour later, Lin Feng stopped and walked towards Sister Wang, smiling. "Why don't you watch TV?" Sister Wang said, "If you don't want to see it, don't watch it." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Do you think watching me practice kung fu is more interesting than watching TV?" Sister Wang seems to be a little embarrassed. Feng Yun's beautiful face flew a blush, and said in a soft and melodious voice, "Actually, I didn't know you were on the third floor at first. I thought you went back to the room. I knocked on your door, but there was no response, so I'm on the third floor." "Knock on my door for what?" "Let's see if you're secretly typing." "Yezi," I said, "you can't type here if you live here," Sister Wang said. "How do you know if I steal the code at night? Are you going to sleep in my room this night? What crazy words are you talking about? How could I sleep in your room? If you tease me again, I'll call Yezi immediately," Sister Wang said angrily. "You misunderstood. I'm not teasing you, or I'm chatting with you normally. If you think about it carefully, you will find that there is nothing wrong with what I just said," Lin Feng said. Sister Wang did not continue to say anything. Getting up and walking downstairs, Lin Feng sat down on the rattan chair very depressed, lit a cigarette and started smoking. Although Yezi said that he could not code while living here, Lin Feng still wanted to secretly code tonight. But if there is a hidden camera in the room he lives in, it will be troublesome. Even if he finds the hidden camera, he cannot remove it, otherwise there will be no silver tails here. Lin Feng returned to his room, took off all his clothes and threw them on the sofa. The moment he took off his shorts, he became depressed. He didn't even have a change of clothes here. Could he be wearing this set for the next few days? Clothing. After washing, it is easy to dry, but it is still inconvenient. Lin Feng walked into the bathroom, turned the nozzle to cold water, and washed his hot body. Sister Wang was stimulating him all the time. At this time, it was necessary for him to cool down his body. After taking a shower, Lin Feng walked out naked, and was immediately surprised that Hong Ying was sitting on the sofa. What? Seeing Lin Feng's vigorous body, Hong Ying screamed, and Lin Feng also screamed, indicating that he was also very surprised, but he did not use his hands to protect the upright part while screaming. Hong Ying covered her eyes with her hands, but it was of no use. She had seen it clearly just now. It was estimated that her heart was beating wildly. Maybe the small universe in her body had begun to erupt. Hurry up and put on your pants, or the old lady will kick you out. I just took a shower and I don't want to put on the pants I just took off again, but there are no suitable pants for me to change into, so I don't plan to wear them. If you don't want to see me naked, it's very simple, just get out. If you really want to see it, then remove your hand covering your eyes and watch it to your heart's content, Lin Feng said. You bastard, in the bag over there are the pants and clothes I brought you, you should quickly put them on, Hong Ying said. Only then did Lin Feng notice the big bag. He saw that there were 3 pairs of trousers, 2 sets of high-end clothes, 2 sets of pajamas, and several disposable shorts. Lin Feng knew that these disposable shorts were only worn by men when they were doing a full-body spa or oil massage. Wearing these shorts, when the beautiful massage technician gave this man a full-body massage, his hand slipped down his back to once the edges of the shorts won't stop either, slipping into the shorts and pressing the guys too. Could it be that Hong Ying will give him a full-body spa or some kind of relaxing full-body massage? Are you dressed yet? Not yet, Lin Feng said. Come on, you bastard, what have you been thinking about all this time? Let my body get some air. You're not naked anyway, so don't be too scared. Lin Feng put on his trousers and pajamas again, and said with a smile, I'm done. The hands that Hong Ying covered her eyes were put down, and she saw Lin Feng, who was wearing a set of pure cotton pajamas. He was very tall, but Hong Ying couldn't tell whether Lin Feng's smile was evil or sunny at this time. Is there some kind of tease to her in it? Lin Feng walked over and sat beside Hong Ying, smiled and said, What are you doing here? Hong Ying said, Miss Yaya asked me to come and see if you're stealing the code. After you got here, Miss Ye has hardly repaired you. If you dare to steal the code, it will definitely fix you severely. Like Sister Wang, Hong Ying is a top-notch beauty. Hong Ying's main focus is hotness, while Wang Ji's main focus is charm. Lin Feng had already stimulated Sister Wang's full-bodied woman for a long time. It was only after a cold shower that he felt a little better, but now he was stimulated by the red shadow of the bodysuit again. The tight top outlines the red shadow's towering chest, making the pair of big stand out. Just like the tights may explode at any time, the pair of big will jump out and dance. The lower abdomen is flat. If the handle put it on and touch it, you can not only feel the softness but also feel her fragrance. The leggings wrapped Hong Ying's slender legs. She was not the kind of woman with a poor backbone. Her slender legs were very textured. If she carried her slender legs over her shoulders to do that, it would be very powerful. Lin Feng didn't know if Hong Ying had done it with a certain man before, or if a certain man had enjoyed her hot body. If Hong Ying was still a first-time daughter, it would be no small miracle. When Lin Feng thought that there were disposable pants in the big bag, he became even more puzzled, and wanted to ask Hong Ying, "It's fine if you bring me clothes and underwear, why did you bring the disposable pants? It's you. Do you want to give me spa or Sister Wang wants to give me spa?" Don't ask, as time goes by, what should be understood will become clear. If it is pain, he will bear it, and if it is pleasure, he will enjoy it. Lin Feng said, "Hong Ying, although you are sometimes very cold, but I know you are a very loyal woman, I am your friend, can you be more loyal to me?" Hong Ying said, "How do you know that I consider you a friend? You humiliated me twice in the ring at the Jinwu Center. The first time I competed with you, you slapped me in the ring, the second time I competed with you, you actually put your arm around me in the ring and danced the Spanish bullfight, and I have the heart to shoot you to death." Hong Ying didn't wrong Lin Feng. Those two things happened just now. Lin Feng began to reminisce in embarrassment. It seemed to be wonderful, but his face was still embarrassed. Lin Feng lit a cigarette, stared at Hong Ying's beautiful face for a while, and said with a smile, "If I made you depressed before, I apologize to you. You see, even Ye treats me as a friend. It's the person next to Ye, you should also treat me as a friend." Ha ha ha. This is Hong Ying's laughter. It laughed happily at first, but it stopped abruptly. Hong Ying's soft hand patted Lin Feng's shoulder and quickly moved away, as if her hand didn't want to make too much contact with Lin Feng's body, but what she said surprised Lin Feng. "I'm sure that you are a friend. Before you came to this big villa, Ye and I both regarded you as a friend. You have offended Ye several times before, but she never seems to have used cruel means to deal with it. If you are not a friend, even if your kung fu is very high, your body will already be incomplete. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation, monthly pass. Your support is my biggest motivation for mobile phone users. Please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 305. I'm honored to have friends like Yaya and you, but can you please let me code? Before I come here, I will save the manuscript for 7 days. If I don't code a word here, when I leave it's been 3 days since the update, and it hasn't been long since my novel started to improve, so it's not good for me. Readers will have great opinions, and the editor will also call me and ask me what to say." Lin Feng said. "I know you're in a hurry, but this is not up for discussion, because this is what the leaves mean." Lin Feng began to think about this very serious question again. Why did Ye do this? What good does it do to the leaves to let him break? It seems that there is no advantage at all, but there is no disadvantage, because whether he is fast or broken, it has nothing to do with leaves. Could it be that Ye just wanted to play him this way, and it would be pleasant to see his pain? Hong Ying said, "The possibility that you think out of your mind is not on the idea. In fact, this is a kind of punishment. You are living by coding, so Ye makes you unable to code these days. That is, you are in not being able to make money these days will also affect your previous reputation, so it's a punishment. If this is regarded as a punishment, but it is easier to understand, but Lin Feng does not think it is just a punishment." Lin Feng was very depressed, and he didn't even have the mood to continue chatting with Hong Ying, but Hong Ying was in a good mood. Hong Ying said, "Did you see the disposable shorts I brought?" Lin Feng said, "I see, but I don't know what it is for. I don't need to wear disposable shorts when I live here. Those shorts are very thin and easy to leak. If I wear these shorts to walk around the villa, Sister Wang will think I'm a pervert." Hong Ying said that it was worn by men when they were enjoying a full body massage. "Since it was brought to you, it would definitely be used. Is your heart beautiful?" Lin Feng wondered, "Who wants to massage me? Is it you or Ms. Wang?" Red Shadow said, "It must be me. I'm going to give you all kinds of massages to make your kid comfortable." Is there such a good thing? Lin Feng was absolutely sure that the beautiful and hot Hong Ying would give him a full body massage, and he would be very comfortable. If Hong Ying's hand touched his thing, he would be even more comfortable. But why does Hong Ying do this? Lin Feng said, this is also the meaning of leaves. Is it a form of punishing me? Hong Ying said, punishment will make you miserable, but I will give you a massage to make you comfortable, so this is not punishment, nor what yeah means, but what I mean. Lin Fengzin said, then why did you make me comfortable? Did you see me? He didn't really say these words, but there was a bit of melancholy between his eyebrows. Hong Ying said, I'm going out first, and I'll come in 10 minutes. Change your clothes quickly. Take off all your clothes and trousers, just put on disposable shorts. Hong Ying went out, but Lin Feng began to sit on the sofa in a daze. What was about to come seemed wonderful, but Lin Feng didn't dare to take off his clothes and shorts easily and put on disposable shorts. Hong Ying has made it clear to him, but he still can't believe that such a good thing will happen to him. It is very likely that when he puts on disposable shorts and goes to bed, he will be caught by Hong Ying. Repair by some eccentric means, perhaps more painful than being beaten, no blood but far more painful than blood. Unconsciously 10 minutes passed. When Hong Ying came in, he saw that Lin Feng was still wearing pajamas. Hong Ying's beautiful face was full of sullenness, and she said coldly, you ignorant thing, why haven't you put on disposable shorts? Fortunately I want to make you comfortable and guilty, if you do this again, I can leave. The red shadows started to irritate him. Is it a sea of swords and a sea of fire or a gentle town? Lin Feng briefly considered for a few seconds, and then said, you go out again, just 2 minutes. Hong Ying nodded slightly and backed out. Lin Feng quickly took off his pajamas and trousers. Then he changed into disposable shorts, and soon there was a knock on the door from Hong Ying, and Lin Feng opened the door. Hong Ying walked in and smiled, tell me, is this the first time you've put on these shorts? Lin Feng said, first time. Hong Ying said, really? Lin Feng said, it's true, this is the first time, because men and women can skip body massage before that. What he means is that although I have been with a woman many times, this is indeed the first time. Hong Ying smiled slightly, and then suggested Lin Feng to go to the bed. Lin Feng was even more puzzled. He wondered if Hong Ying wanted to do that with him in addition to giving him a full body massage. Give him a full body massage, then ride on him with wild ups and downs. Lin Feng said, should I climb down or lie down first? Hong Ying said, climb down first. Lin Feng climbed onto the bed. There were no trousers in the disposable shorts, so his thing was staring at the soft big bed. Hong Ying sat next to Lin Feng and admired his strong back for a moment, then kneaded his soft hands against his shoulders with moderate force. After a few simple strokes, Lin Feng felt that Hong Ying was a master of massage. A few minutes later, Hong Ying opened a very high-grade essential oil, poured it on his hand, and quickly wiped it on Lin Feng's body. Every time Hong Ying's hand touched it, it could bring strong stimulation to Lin Feng. When Hong Ying wiped the essential oil on Lin Feng's butt, Lin Feng's body reacted more strongly, and immediately grabbed Hong Ying's arm. Hong Ying said disdainfully, look at your success, you can't stand it before you finish wiping the essential oil. Lin Feng then released Hong Ying's arm and said with a smile, if the client dragged the masseuse into his arms during the process of wiping the essential oil, it would indeed be a little restless. Hong Ying's hand was still in the disposable shorts. Hearing Lin Feng say this, he immediately twisted his heart, then took out his hand and punched his back twice. You bastard, who are you calling a masseuse? Lin Feng said, I just made a joke just now, don't be angry. Hong Ying said, my massage skills are very high, but I have only done massages to my master and Miss Yezi before. Let me remind you that my master is a woman, and it is the first time that I have applied essential oils on a man's body. Lin Feng regretted it a bit. He really shouldn't have made that joke just now. He should enjoy it. I wonder if Hong Ying is still in the mood to massage him. Don't talk nonsense, kid, and if you're comfortable later, don't think nonsense. Got it, Lin Feng said. Hong Ying began to massage Lin Feng's back, and the soft hands glowing with heat showed various techniques, making Lin Feng very comfortable and relaxed. It is indeed a wonderful enjoyment. Suddenly, Hong Ying's hands passed through the disposable shorts and massaged Lin Feng's buttocks. At that moment, Lin Feng's body bowed sharply, and Hong Ying's back was quickly punched, and soon hearing Hong Ying's warning, "Don't move, it's more comfortable to relax." The whole massage process turned out to be an hour and a half. During this period, Hong Ying's hand touched Lin Feng several times, but it did not touch his part. Lin Feng was almost crazy with comfort. He sat up and looked at Hong Ying and found that Hong Ying seemed to be nothing unusual. Lin Feng said, "Is this the end?" Hong Ying said, "An hour and a half is not long enough, didn't you feel comfortable at home just now?" Lin Feng said, "I thought the point was not to make me comfortable." Hong Ying said, "You think I will take the opportunity to repair you, then you are too worried, go take a bath, and then you can sleep, I wish you a good night's sleep." Seeing that Hong Ying was about to go out, Lin Feng vowed, "I'll right after I take a shower." Hong Ying's footsteps stopped immediately, she looked at Lin Feng's face for a moment, then walked back and sat on the sofa. When Lin Feng washed all the essential oils on his body, put on his shorts and walked out, Hong Ying was still sitting on the sofa. Lin Feng smiled and said, "You haven't left yet." Hong Ying said, "I'm afraid you will code." Lin Feng said, "Then you can stay in my room. Once you leave, I will be able to code." Hong Ying said, "You kid is not an ordinary evil, I will lie down on the bed and see how you can code." Lin Feng thought that Hong Ying was just joking with him, but he didn't expect Hong Ying to lie on his bed. Hong Ying lying on the bed, with her tall chest facing the ceiling, raised Erlang's legs, and the curves of her slender legs were extremely beautiful. Lin Feng glanced at the time. It was just after 10 o'clock in the evening, and it was still a little early to go to bed. Normally, he would not lie in bed before midnight. This has always been a habit since college days, so he is not sleepy at all. But one thing is for sure, lying beside the big beauty Hong Ying will make him very comfortable, then he will be greatly stimulated, his body will be very straight, maybe it will be a kind of ecstasy, maybe it will be a kind of torture. Lin Feng lay down beside Hong Ying, looked at the ceiling with Hong Ying, and smiled helplessly. The scene at this time is something I have never thought of before. You made me very comfortable just now. Hong Ying said, "It's just a full body massage. It seems that although you have done that with a woman, you haven't really enjoyed life. There are many things a man can enjoy, and doing that with a woman is just one of them. See, you're still a long way off." Lin Feng said, "You don't tell me, I know, I'm still far away, but one thing is very important. If I want to find someone to do a full body massage, what kind of blue style, purple style, Hong Kong style massage, Thai style massage, French style massage? Money is enough, and you can get a full set for a few $100 in an ordinary fitness center, but you are different, you are not a massage girl, you are a very noble and superb beauty." Just now, Lin Feng mentioned the masseuse again, but it wasn't about Hong Ying, but he used it to raise Hong Ying violently, making Hong Ying feel very comfortable. Hong Ying said, "Since I made you comfortable, don't talk nonsense, go to bed quickly, I can feel at ease when you fall asleep, otherwise you will code again." To be continued. If you like for this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommended and monthly tickets. Your support is my greatest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi Feng. Chapter 306. Lin Feng closed his eyes slightly, and Hong Ying was still lying beside him, savoring the aroma of Hong Ying. All that flashed in Lin Feng's mind was the scene of Hong Ying doing a full body massage for him. When he crawled on the bed, it was not easy to see Hong Ying's movements and expressions clearly, but when he lay flat on the bed, he could see it clearly. At that time, Hong Ying's face was slightly red and his hands were surging. The towering chest is also surging at the moment, which brings him comfort in addition to comfort. Hong Ying said, "You hasn't fallen asleep yet." Lin Feng didn't say anything, and he didn't open his closed eyes. "Stop pretending, you bastard." Hong Ying's fist fell on Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng first let Hong Ying punch him twice before grabbing her wrist and dragging her into his arms. "Oh don't drag me." At the same time as Hong Ying shouted, Lin Feng was already pulled into his arms, and the towering chest collided with Lin Feng's body with great force. When Hong Ying just wanted to resist, Lin Feng kissed her red lips, savoring the smooth softness. Lin Feng was very intoxicated. Hong Ying's head shook, as if there was nowhere to escape. In the end, she could only open her rosy lips and let Lin Feng's tongue slide in. During the hot kiss, Lin Feng wanted to put his hand in and touch Hong Ying's chest, but Hong Ying grabbed it. If Lin Feng wanted to break free from the shackles of Hong Ying, he could do it, but he could feel it through Hong Ying's strength. Shadow really didn't want him to touch his chest. Forget it, Hong Ying has already made him very comfortable, and he can't make Hong Ying suffer too much. Otherwise it is dishonest. Since I don't even want him to touch my breasts, I don't want him to touch the wet areas. Lin Feng's hands became much more honest, hugged Hong Ying tightly, and the kiss continued. After the hot kiss, Hong Ying took a long breath to calm down and complained, "It really made you eat a lot of tofu. These are all things I didn't expect before. I never thought I would be so different from you before." Influential people play so much ambiguity. Lin Feng said, "Perhaps in Yezi and your heart, even if I am a friend, I still feel that I am not in the stream. But I can also proudly tell you that I already have more than 1 million people. Maybe you sound like it's ridiculous, thinking that more than 1 million is not a lot of money. A slightly higher-end Patek Philippe watch exceeds 1 million, and a slightly higher-end sports car also exceeds 1 million. You and Leaves are not lacking in these things. Only got over 1 million. Hong Ying said, "I don't think it's ridiculous for you to say that. You are indeed very real sometimes, and not being false should be considered a person's strength. Miss Yaya said something similar to me before, but Yaya is actually I admire you very much, number 1. She appreciates your kung fu, and number 2, she appreciates your authenticity." Lin Feng quipped, "Did Yaya tell you whether she appreciates my work in bed or the work under my bed?" It was teasing her and teasing the Leaves at the same time. At this time, Yaya was not present, but Lin Feng was teased. This should also be regarded as a type of lying down and getting shot. Hong Ying said, "How do I know that what she appreciates is your kung fu in bed and kung fu under the bed? But what I can be sure of is that you and Yezi I never had that, and if I told Yaya what you just said, you will be miserable." Lin Feng knew that Hong Ying would not say this to Yezi, but he began to be silent and continued to recall the whole process of enjoying Hong Ying's massage just now. It was really wonderful. Lin Feng couldn't help but said, "Hong Ying, you gave me a full body massage just now, it made me very comfortable. This is the first time I have enjoyed this kind of massage, and it is a beauty like you who serves me, but since it is a full body massage, why should I miss it? That part, you have to know, that thing of mine is also growing on my body, it is a very important part of my body, you should." Seeing that Hong Ying's eyes stood up, Lin Feng couldn't continue talking, he was a little embarrassed, he laughed. Hong Ying said leisurely, "You're a cheap bastard, you want me to give you a massage too? I don't have that idea yet, but, if you don't want that thing, what's in my bag? There is a knife, and I can cut it for you." Lin Feng said, "It's cruel." Hong Ying said, "If you dare to force me, I will dare to be cruel to you and cut off the source of your sins when you are asleep." Lin Feng was very surprised and said, "No, Hong Ying, are you really going to sleep with me this night?" Hong Ying said, "Only in this way can I absolutely guarantee that you will not steal the code words, otherwise I will be negligent, and Yaya will blame me." Lin Feng said in his heart, "Miss Yaya, you are so fierce, you actually forced Hongying onto my bed. The feminine fashion store is closed today. If the turnover in the past exceeded 2,000 yuan, Dinan would be very excited, but this time the turnover exceeded 2,000 yuan, she did not feel excited at all, because she did not know Lin Feng. Where did he go? Even if Lin Feng has not encountered danger yet, he may encounter danger in the next few days. Tian Qingzu said, Sister Nan, you can go back, I will just go back to the dormitory by myself. Dinan smiled and said, Lin Feng is not here, the task of protecting you is mine. I will be relieved to see you walk into the dormitory building. Even if the security of Beijing Normal University is not bad, you are a beautiful schoolgirl. There is still a high possibility of sloppy confessors. Tian Qingzu originally thought that she would not meet someone with ulterior motives tonight, but when she heard Dinan say this, she became worried and hesitated for a moment. I hope not to encounter any bad people, otherwise the two of us will not be able to deal with it. Dinan said, Don't worry, in order to protect you, Sister Nan will work hard. Although Sister Nan doesn't know much about Kung Fu, she is very good at playing her life. Tian Qingzu was very moved, and his eyes were a little wet. Walking together on the campus of Beijing Normal University, Dinan thought about the question that made her very tangled. She had never been to a university, and she didn't know what it would be like to be a female college student. Maybe that feeling was wonderful. Meng Jiwei walked over and saw that Dinan was sending Tian Qingzu by himself. He was very curious. He walked over with a dashing pace and said with a smile, Where did Lin Feng go? Dinan hated Meng Jiwei very much. He didn't look at him directly, and said with a chuckle, Lin Feng is typing, why don't I call him and ask him to come over and tell you something? Meng Jiwei was not as dashing as before, because until now, the shadow that Lin Feng had left on him has not dissipated. His face was a bit ugly, and he said with a smile, I just asked casually, what are you excited about? It's all over, Lin Feng and I are friends now, it's very boring for you to say that just now. Dinan said, maybe what I said just now is really meaningless, but since it is a friend, then don't have evil thoughts. Meng Jiwei smiled slightly and passed Dinan. How he wanted to savor the beauty of Tian Qingzu for a while, but he almost didn't look at Tian Qingzu's face just now, because he wanted to pretend to be more dashing, so he just now I missed a chance to taste the beauty of Tian Qingzu. Dinan and Tian Qingzu continued to walk along the path of the campus. Tian Qingzu said, do you think Meng Jiwei is really convinced? Dinan said, in the past, Lin Feng did repair Meng Jiwei badly again and again, but there is no guarantee that Meng Jiwei will still have the idea of revenge. Once he has the opportunity, who knows what that will do? Be careful. Tian Qingzu said, although Lu Miao has always looked down on me and thought that if Beijing Normal University didn't have me, she would be the school flower, but I still hope that Lu Miao will have a good future, because Lu Miao's original intention is not bad. Do you think Lu Miao and Meng Jiwei can make it? Dinan said, unless the Meng Jiwei has suffered a strong blow, Lu Miao will always be his plaything. Tian Qingzu sighed softly, it's really tragic. Many women have to be played by men. Why is the fate of our women like this? Dinan said with a smile, Qingzu, it's not right for you to think so, you have to know that while men play with women, women are playing with men, just like doing that, men and women are also equivalent to women and men. There will be pleasure, and women will also have pleasure, so. Tian Qingzu's face was blushing, and she said softly, I already understand it very well, please stop explaining it. Dinan watched Tian Qingzu walk into the girls' dormitory, then left, returned to her partition room, sat on the chair and started thinking about Lin Feng. If Lin Feng was typing in the master bedroom at this time, she would feel very practical, but now that Lin Feng is not here, she doesn't know where Lin Feng has gone, and when she asks him, he doesn't say anything. After midnight. In Ye Zi's private villa, Hong Ying lying beside Lin Feng had already fallen asleep. Her sleeping appearance was beautiful and her breathing was well proportioned. Lin Feng found that Hong Ying's sleep quality was not bad, but if he put his hand on Hong Ying's towering chest and stroked it, I am afraid that Hong Ying's sleep quality would not be so good. Maybe Hong Ying will call him annoying, then grab his hand and put it aside. Maybe Hong Ying will jump up and have a fight with him, making the big soft bed very lively. Maybe Hong Ying will pretend not to feel anything and let his hand touch it. Lin Feng hopes that it will be the third possibility, but this possibility is indeed very small. If he touches Hong Ying's chest, Hong Ying is unlikely to be indifferent. But the stimulation of Hong Ying's graceful and hot body was too great, and the stimulation of the whole body massage was superimposed, making him feel uncomfortable without doing anything evil. Lin Feng raised his hand to the top of Hong Ying's towering chest, about 10 centimeters apart. Suddenly, Lin Feng's hand lowered a little, and there was only about 5 centimeters away from Hong Ying's chest. Suddenly, Lin Feng's hand lowered a little bit, and there was only about 2 centimeters away from Hong Ying's chest. Suddenly, Lin Feng's hand pressed against Hong Ying's towering chest, and the softness made him extremely excited. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 307. Hong Ying seemed to have reacted, but she didn't open her eyes or scold him, so Lin Feng kneaded her hand against Hong Ying's chest. There was clothing blocking it, but the soft warmth was already very clear. A minute later, Hong Ying still didn't open her eyes, but she pushed Lin Feng's hand aside very hard, showing that she was very angry. Lin Feng laughed. Hong Ying twisted against Lin Feng's arm. It really hurt him. Lin Feng grinned and stopped smiling. He can already be sure that just now, when his hand just put his hand on Hong Ying's chest, Hong Ying already felt it, but he didn't remind him immediately. There are several possibilities for not reminding him. First, Hong Ying wants to save some face for him. Second, Hong Ying is waiting for his touch. Third, Hong Ying is half asleep and half awake and doesn't want to speak. What to say? This is similar to the situation where people don't want to use the bathroom even if they have the urge to urinate between half dreams and half awakes. After a simple analysis, Lin Feng believes that the second possibility is very big. Hong Ying felt embarrassed to want him to touch his chest, so he suddenly became angry when he touched his chest for a minute. Another hour has passed, and 2 o'clock in the morning will come soon. Lin Feng can be sure that Hong Ying is fast asleep at the moment. He did not touch Hong Ying's body again, but sat up and got out of bed. His movements were very light. I don't know if Hong Ying felt it. Lin Feng sat on the chair and turned on the computer. What made him depressed happened. The computer was not silent, but made a loud noise. The music when the computer was turned on made Hong Ying sit up instantly, and his sharp eyes swept over Lin Feng. In a cold voice, Lin Feng, you bastard. Do you want to steal the code? Lin Feng chuckled. Does it mean that you need to code words when you open a computer? You think the computer was invented for network writers? Computers came first, and then there were network writers. I just want to browse the web when I open a computer. Hong Ying still thinks that Lin Feng wanted to code when he opened the computer, because when Lin Feng saw the computer, the first thing that came to his mind was not to browse the web or play online games, but to code. After Hong Ying got out of bed, she came over and sat beside Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt the strong aroma approaching and surrounded him. Hong Ying said, "Okay, don't you want to browse the web? I browse with you. Do you want to watch news or mm?" Lin Feng said, "Is there any picture of you on this computer?" Hong Ying said, "Is your brain flooded? The room you live in was empty before. I have never used this computer, how can there be any pictures of me?" Lin Feng said, is there such a movie? I want to see. Hong Ying said, do you want to see? Why don't you die? Are you not stimulated enough, do you want to break down? Lin Feng said, at most I just vented. The possibility of collapse is very small. If the beauty is stimulated and collapsed, am I still a man? Lin Feng is indeed not easy to collapse, but Hong Ying is about to collapse, and his body leans against him as soon as he is tilted. Helplessly smiled, can I ask you a question? Lin Feng said, ask. Red Shadow said. You promise to answer me? Lin Feng said, no problem. Hong Ying said, excuse me, how long did your father and mother do when they were pregnant with you, and how did they give birth to something like you? Lin Feng was very angry, because Hong Ying even mentioned it to his parents, and this question was seriously suspected of humiliating him. Lin Feng originally planned to repair Hong Ying fiercely in an ambiguous way, but he quickly changed his mind. Since Hong Ying has the omen of collapse, let her collapse completely. Lin Feng said, I will call my dad and ask him, if his memory is good enough, maybe he will come back to me, maybe he will say, you stinky boy, come back, I will beat you to death. Lin Feng really took out his mobile phone and said to Hong Ying with a light smile, did you see it? You, the woman who made me feel extremely comfortable through body massage, this is my home phone. In order not to be blackmailed by people with ulterior motives when the phone is lost, I entered my father's name without even my surname. It's just a name, I'll call him right now. I rely on. The old lady has served you. Hong Ying shouted, her body twisted again, and she almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, Lin Feng was quick and hugged her waist. At this moment, Hong Ying's body is tilted, and Lin Feng's body is also tilted. Lin Feng is less than 2 minutes away from Hong Ying's chest, so his body is tilted a little more and touches Hong Ying's chest. Hong Ying's face was pink, and her eyes were warm and unbelievable. When Lin Feng kissed her red lips, she quickly opened her red lips and kissed Lin Feng again. Lin Feng's hand reached the edge of Hong Ying's chest, and he could touch Hong Ying's pair of big at any time. Hong Ying's teeth bit Lin Feng's tongue, but he didn't use force to warn him. Lin Feng's hand didn't hold Hong Ying's chest in the end, because once he did, his tongue would bleed, unless his tongue slipped out of Hong Ying's mouth first, and then touched her. But he still wanted to kiss, and didn't want to sneak out immediately, so he gave up touching Hong Ying's chest for the time being. After the hot kiss, Hong Ying began to gasp again, as if it was very sweet, and at the same time as if she couldn't believe what she had done just now. This kind of scene is the most moving. Lin Feng began to browse the web, Hong Ying sat beside him, just looked at him without saying a word, just like that. An hour passed quickly, it was already past 3 in the morning. Hong Ying was a little tired and asked him, are you really not going to sleep? Lin Feng said, not sleeping, but you can sleep. Hong Ying said, I am afraid that you will code words. Lin Feng said, yes, once you fall asleep, I can really code, and I want to type on the keyboard now. Hong Ying complained in her heart. It seems that I can't sleep tonight. She raised her fist and hit Lin Feng twice, sighing softly, why don't you find a movie to watch? Lin Feng turned off the computer, picked up Hong Ying and walked towards the soft big bed. Hong Ying struggled for a moment, then wrapped his arms around Lin Feng's neck, sneered, if you dare to get on me, Miss Yezi, I will kill you. Lin Feng said, if I you, she wouldn't kill me if you didn't tell her. Hong Ying said, if you me, I will definitely tell her. Lin Feng said, I made you comfortable, will you still tell her? It's okay if we're comfortable with sneaking around, why let her know? Lin Feng originally said this to tease Hong Ying, but Hong Ying gave a godlike reply. Hong Ying said, Yezi, I made a promise a long time ago that when I dedicate my first daughter to a man, I will tell him, that is to say, if you get on me, then you will get my first daughter. So I'm going to tell Yezi that you got my first girl body. Of course, if yes first girl body is dedicated to a man, she will also tell me who that man is. Lin Feng put Hong Ying on the bed. He lay beside Hong Ying and thought of a wonderful scene. On the grass in the suburbs, Ye was wearing a short dress and black stockings, and Hong Ying was wearing a red dress. One is the temptation of black, the other is the temptation of red, both are very moist, like two clear streams. Hong Ying said, Yezi I am no longer my first daughter, and my first daughter was given to Lin Feng. Ye said, how did you give it to that bastard? Hong Ying said, he took off my trousers, and later took off his own trousers. He saw my wetness, I saw his thing, I couldn't help it, and he couldn't bear it either. Stayed, so I and he warmed up. Yezi I said, in fact, I am not a first daughter, and my first daughter was also given to Lin Feng. Hong Ying said, my eldest lady, isn't it? Your body is so noble, how can you cheapen him? Your body should be given to a very rich and prestigious person. That person must be rich enough to be a gentleman and strong enough. Leaf said, because I, like you, lost control. The imaginary scene made Lin Feng quite comfortable, but he did not laugh out loud, and gradually fell into a dreamland. He dreamed of bamboo, the school flower of Beijing Normal University, and he also dreamed of the one in Kuashan town, Shu province, which he never went to. At the same time, he also dreamed that he bought a house in Beijing, and the decoration was very good. Morning. The moment Hong Ying opened her eyes, Lin Feng was no longer lying beside her. Her first reaction was to scan the room. She didn't see Lin Feng's shadow. She smiled and sat up. Fortunately, Lin Feng didn't force that last night. She really has no ability to resist. She knows that even if she exerts her kung fu to the extreme, she is not Lin Feng's opponent. Until now, she still can't believe it. The thunder and lightning legs are not Lin Feng's opponents. The thunder and lightning legs really made Lin Feng beat him badly, and Lin Feng also tugged hard in front of Miss Ye. When Hong Ying arrived on the third floor of the villa, she saw that Lin Feng was practicing kung fu. His boxing skills were fierce, and his leg skills were even more powerful. He wanted to sit down and enjoy it, but Hong Ying couldn't help the impulse and rushed towards Lin Feng. His slender legs were raised, and a sweeping leg kicked him in the face. Fierce enough, it was so comfortable to give him a full body massage last night, but at this time Hong Ying had the heart to fight with him. Lin Feng instantly grabbed Hong Ying's calf, admiring the beautiful body of Hong Ying standing on one leg. Zi smiled and said, are you doubting what I did to you last night? The ambiguous things I played with you were when you were awake, and when you fell asleep, I didn't do anything to you. Hong Ying said, I don't doubt you, I know you didn't eat my tofu when I fell asleep, I just want to have a good experience with you and let go of my legs. Lin Feng chuckled, the competition is over, you lost to me because I grabbed your leg. You bastard! Hong Ying shouted, and his right fist slammed into Lin Feng's face, and Lin Feng let go of Hong Ying's legs when he dodged. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my greatest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 308. Hong Ying's slender legs were fragrant and kicked towards Lin Feng again and again. Lin Feng moved back and forth at the same time, very chic and elegant, and the more than 10 feet Hong Ying kicked out did not even touch his body. Really depressing. But she was not reconciled, and kicked out with more than 10 legs, but she still failed to touch Lin Feng's body. Hong Ying was tired, so he glanced at Lin Feng, and sat down on the chair angrily. Lin Feng had been practicing for more than an hour, and he had just discussed with Hong Ying again, so he did not plan to continue practicing. Smiling. Sitting next to Hong Ying, he took out a cigarette from the cigarette case and put it in his mouth. Hong Ying snatched the lighter from Lin Feng's hand, smiled and said, "This lighter is very high-end. It is estimated to cost about 2,000 yuan, but it must not have been bought by you. It must have been given to you by a beautiful woman." Lin Feng said, "Let you guess right, it was given by a beautiful woman. Guess it and see which beautiful woman sent it." Hong Ying helped Lin Feng lit a cigarette and said with a smile, "Dinan." Lin Feng was very surprised. He thought that Hong Ying could guess at least 3 times, but Hong Ying guessed it right away. This also showed a very serious problem. Even Hong Ying could see that his relationship with Dinan was extraordinary. Lin Feng said, "How did you guess?" Hong Ying said, "Because Dinan is a woman who thinks about you wholeheartedly. I don't know if her body was given to you, but her heart is already yours." Lin Feng said that Dinan's heart is indeed mine, but her body is not mine. I have had an affair with her, but there has never been such a thing. I want her to be my girlfriend, but she won't. Red Shadow said. Understandable, because you know all the things Dinan has done before. If I were Dinan, in this case, I would not be your girlfriend. Lin Feng said that although you and Dinan are not the same kind of people, you are very similar to her. Hong Ying said that this kind of thinking is very popular. Nothing special. Lin Feng said, "There is another question that makes me very puzzled. Why are you so kind to me? Is it yours or yes?" Hong Ying said, "Are you referring to the full body massage I gave you last night?" Lin Feng said, "This is it." Hong Ying's face turned slightly red. "This, you can take it as my whim, right?" Lin Feng said, "You have never had a whim with a man before. Why did you suddenly have a whim with me? Is there a camera in the bathroom? I let you see it when I took a shower. You admire my body, so you have a whim. You bastard, you are shameless. How can I worship your body? I warn you. Don't guess. First of all, there is no camera in any bathroom in this villa, and secondly, I have not seen your that things. It doesn't matter if your thing is big or small." Hong Ying snorted coldly and glared at Lin Feng. He got up and walked downstairs quickly. Looking at Hong Ying's dynamic back, Lin Feng played with the lighter in his hand and made a crisp sound. After a few minutes, he slowly walked downstairs. Sister Wang had already brought the breakfast to the table. When Lin Feng came over, Sister Wang and Hong Ying had already started eating. Sister Wang smiled at Lin Feng and didn't say anything. Lin Feng sat down to eat breakfast, and after a while, Hong Ying stepped on his foot, and with enough force, Lin Feng was in pain, but he just frowned and didn't cry out. After eating breakfast, Hong Ying left. Before going out, she reminded Sister Wang, let her keep an eye on Lin Feng, and must not let him take the time to code words. Sister Wang smiled and nodded, reassuring Hong Ying. Lin Feng really wanted to find a chance to code words during the day. If there were no accidents, Hong Ying would come over this evening. When Hong Ying came, he would have no chance to code words. Lin Feng lit a cigarette and looked at the charming Sister Wang, first at her face, then at her breasts, and then at her slender legs. The loose clothes further accentuate the charm of Sister Wang. This woman's body is soft and full. If it is close to her body, it will be very comfortable. If it is integrated into her body, it will be extremely ecstasy. Lin Feng even wanted to sleep with his head resting on Sister Wang's chest. Sister Wang noticed that Lin Feng was examining her body. This should be a kind of hunting behavior, but she did not criticize Lin Feng. Her delicate and charming face was slightly red, ignoring Lin Feng's aesthetics. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Sister Wang, I really want to please you, but I don't know how to please you. Why don't I wash the dishes for you when you are cooking at noon?" Sister Wang said, "Washing vegetables is a must, but if you only wash vegetables, you won't be able to please me." Lin Feng said, "How about I give you a gift? You can choose a gift within 5,000 yuan. Sister Wang said, "Aren't you a little too stingy? the upper limit for giving me such a top-quality beauty gift is 5,000 yuan, you should at least come up with 1 or 2 million. I rely on. Sister Wang, you are too ruthless, even if you are very charming, you can't be so ruthless, right? If I spend more than 1 million to buy you a gift, I will become a pauper after you get the gift. Thinking like this, Lin Feng's face was a little unnatural. Maybe Sister Wang was joking, but it really stimulated him. Lin Feng smiled and said, Sister Wang, you are too cruel. If I give you 1 or 2 million as a gift, I will not only go bankrupt, but I will also be in debt. It is not easy for me to struggle in Beijing as a foreigner. Raise your hand high. Sister Wang said, if you want to please me, you just want me to agree to your code, and tell you, there is no drama. Lin Feng was a little annoyed, he stretched out his arms and hugged Sister Wang's charming body into his arms. His hand even touched Sister Wang's chest through the loose clothes. With a simple touch, he felt the ecstatic softness and warmth, so his hand kneaded against Sister Wang's towering chest. Enough! Sister Wang shouted, and Lin Feng's hand bounced off instantly. Sister Wang grabbed her mobile phone and quickly found Ye's number. She smiled meanly, if I told Ye that you molested me, she would break your leg with a gun without hesitation. She is very tolerant to you, but if you molest me, she will not be tolerant to you, she will use very cruel means to deal with you and make you miserable. Lin Feng said, what are you excited about? I didn't seem to tease you just now, did I? Sister Wang said, didn't you tease me? Then what is it that you hold me in your arms, and what is it that you touch my chest? Lin Feng was speechless, because he did just that, so embarrassed, he simply sang, as if he was a little out of tune. Sister Wang was not as angry as before, and a light smile appeared on the corner of her mouth. After a while, she said, don't you have a part of the manuscript? Even if you don't write a word during this time, when you leave here, it's just a 3-day break. If your book is really good, it won't make much difference if you take 3 days off. Lin Feng said, aren't you reading my book? What do you think of my book? Sister Wang said, I haven't read online novels before. Your book is the first online novel I started to read, and it feels pretty good. Lin Feng said that some women think that it is enough to have a husband and a man for a lifetime, and they will feel very comfortable whether they have an or not, but some women will think that it is a bit too bad to be with a husband and a man only, and they don't know how to marry him. Would it be more comfortable for a man to do it? Sister Wang, what kind of woman are you? Sister Wang got angry, does reading the novel have anything to do with doing that? You little bastard, do you think the example you just gave is too much? Do you believe that I splashed the water from the cup on your face? Lin Feng just suddenly got the inspiration and said those words after thinking about it. He didn't say that because he planned to tease Sister Wang. After thinking about it, what he said just now was indeed a bit too much. He could only say sorry to Sister Wang. Sister Wang sighed softly, I wanted to play a few games of chess with your kid, but you just me off, so you can play alone. Sister Wang twisted her hips and walked upstairs with graceful steps. Lin Feng could only stick out her tongue at Sister Wang's back. The campus of Beijing Normal University. Walking on the path, Tian Qingzu was distracted when she heard someone calling her, and when she looked back, she saw that it was Lu Miao, and her footsteps stopped. Lu Miao, who was wearing a short skirt, ran very hot, and the short skirt could fly up at any time. The pants may be exposed at any time, but she doesn't seem to be worried at all. Maybe she is already very experienced. She thinks that running at this speed in this wind speed, the short skirt will not fly up, and even if it does, it will only reveal the small pants. The edge of the pant without showing all the panties. When she reached Tian Qingzu's side, Lu Miao's footsteps stopped, but her legs trembled again. In the past, Lu Miao always looked at her very unpleasantly, because without her, Lu Miao would be the school flower, Tian Qingzu estimated that at this time Lu Miao still looked at her very unpleasantly. In fact, Tian Qingzu also looked at Lu Miao very unpleasantly. In the pure eyes of Tian Qingzu, many things Lu Miao did make her not compliment, but she did not give Lu Miao a smile. Said, "Do you have anything to do with me?" Lu Miao said, "I want to chat with you. Let's go to the woods over there." Tian Qingzu was very nervous and said doubtfully, "We have no grievances and no grudges, even if you have resentment against me before, it is unreasonable, you can't hurt me." Lu Miao said, "Look at you, what's there to be afraid of? I want to talk to you, not someone else. I used to be jealous of you, and I don't seem to have hurt you very much. Even if Meng Jiwei pesters you, it's him. I saw you, and I didn't instigate him." Tian Qingzu looked in the direction of the woods and saw no change, so he walked over with Lu Miao. In the woods, Tian Qingzu and Lu Miao leaned against two tall and sturdy poplar trees. Tian Qingzu smiled and said, "What do you want to talk to me about?" Lu Miao said, "Talk to Lin Feng." Tian Qingzu said, "It's really interesting, why did you think of talking to me about him? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi Feng. Chapter 309. Lu Miao said, "The reason why I want to talk to you about Lin Feng is because you have an unusual relationship with him. Now there are many people in the school who speculate that you are Lin Feng's girlfriend, but I know that you are not his daughter. As for my friend, what I want to tell you is that Lin Feng is a good man, capable, courageous, righteous, and promising. Even if such a man is a little romantic, he is very responsible and reliable. He is stronger than those sanctimonious hypocrites. More, you have to catch him." Lu Miao's evaluation of Lin Feng was so high, which was beyond Tian Qingzu's imagination. Lu Miao loved Meng Jiwei, and Lin Feng repared Meng Jiwei. With Lu Miao's indiscriminate character, she should hate Lin Feng especially, but Lu Miao was right. Miao admired Lin Feng so much. Tian Qingzu didn't ask her why she admired Lin Feng so much, but just smiled and said, "Thank you for your reminder." Lu Miao stared at Tian Qingzu's face for a long time, and smiled relievedly. "Since the freshman year, I have been very unconvinced by you. I think you are not as good as me in all aspects except your face and body, but you are admitted to school." Soon she became the school girl. The president of the student union and the minister of the sports department showed their admiration for you one after another. Later, there were more people who pursued her and who had a crush on her, including the rich and young, gentlemen and handsome men, and elites in the society. People. But as for me, I always wanted to make a splash, but it was nothing more than some negative news. When I mentioned me, people around me didn't think of being beautiful and splendid. Although there are old students leaving and new students coming, you are still the school girl, and I am still in the eyes of everyone. But I also understand you, I am really not as good as you. Not only do I admire Lin Feng, I also admire you very much. I really hope you can come together with Lin Feng." Tian Qingzu was very moved, her tears flowed out, and her slender and full body shook gently. Lu Miao actually wiped away the tears from the corners of Tian Qingzu's eyes, smiled at her and ran away. Tian Qingzu was still leaning against the trees in the woods. At this time, the shadow of Lin Feng flashed in her mind, and Lin Feng helped her deal with the figure of the rogue. There is also the scene of Lin Feng kissing her passionately. Very sweet and heartwarming. Tian Qingzu even wanted to shout, "Lin Feng, I love you," so that everyone in Beijing Normal University could hear her shout. But she just shouted in her heart, and didn't really shout out, after she walked out of the woods. Tian Qingzu's footsteps were very slow, and it took more than half an hour to walk to Fengnan Fashion Store. Dainan was introducing things to customers, and when he looked back, he saw Tian Qingzu coming, smiled at her and continued to introduce to customers. If it is normal, even if it is not the time when she is working as a part-time shopping guide, she will come over and introduce to customers with Dinan. But she didn't have that mood at all at this time, because her thoughts were all on Lin Feng. Sitting on the chair next to the cashier, Tian Qing's face was blurred, as if something unbelievable had happened to her just now, and her breathing was a little uneven. With her breathing, her high chest rose and fell gently. There was a wave that was easy to make people excited about. 2 customers went out. One of them spent more than 150 yuan to buy a bag, which made Dinan very happy. Dinan settled the bill and said with a smile, "Qingzu, why did you come here? Are you here to help me, or I want to come and see if Lin Feng is here?" Hearing the name Lin Feng again, Tian Qing's tears flowed out like spring water. Dinan didn't know what to do with such a rapid burst of tears, so he quickly comforted her, "Qingzu, don't cry, no matter what happens. Whatever happens, Lin Feng has the ability to deal with it." Tian Qingzu choked and said, "But I really want to see Brother Feng, I'm afraid that he has already encountered danger." Dinan said, "Actually, I have already figured out where Lin Feng went, but that person is difficult to deal with." Tian Qingzu said anxiously, "Who is that person?" Dinan said, "Leaves." Tian Qingzu said, "What do you mean? Brother Feng let the eldest Miss Yaya of Hengtu Company take away." Dinan nodded. Tian Qingzu said, "Why did Yaya take Lin Feng away?" Dinan sighed lightly, "It's all in the past, this is Lin Feng's privacy, I can't tell you easily, maybe he will tell you later, if he doesn't say it, don't ask. In short, you know that Lin Feng is a good person, it's enough to be a person worthy of your life." Tian Qingzu bit his lip and nodded, then said, "Sister Nan, are you looking for Brother Feng?" Dinan said, "I'll let you see it, forget it, I originally planned to close the roller shutter in the afternoon, why don't you help me take care of the business in the store, I'll go talk to Yezi. If there's anything here, just call Li Xingguo, the young master of Jinwu Center, didn't I let you save Li Xingguo's phone number last time?" "Oh, I have his phone number." A few days ago, Dinan told Tian Qingzu that Li Xingguo used to be a very rambunctious person, but since he and Lin Feng became good friends, Li Xingguo has changed a lot, and Li Xingguo has always been very loyal to his friends. "Man, it's always right to ask him for help with anything," so Tian Qingzu also saved Li Xingguo's phone number. Although it was only 10 o'clock in the morning, Dinan had already started to think about it. If Yaya promised to see her, what should he say? Yezi was a very special person, and it was necessary to pay attention to skills in communicating with Yezi. Maybe Yezi will listen to her attentively, maybe Yezi will despise her, and it is estimated that she may despise her even more. In Yezi's private villa, Lin Feng was so angry with Sister Wang just now that this charming woman didn't come down after she went upstairs. I don't know if she was not even in the mood to cook lunch. Lin Feng walked upstairs and knocked on the door of Sister Wang's room. Sister Wang was changing her pants. At this time, the new pants were already on her slender legs and she was pulling upwards, but there was no protection yet. It was soft and moist. Hearing the knock on the door, Sister Wang immediately became nervous and quickly put on her trousers. At that moment, Lin Feng pushed open the door and walked in. The large spring light in front of him almost made him faint, and he saw Sister Wang. The slender and tender thighs, especially the thighs, were extraordinarily provocative. At the same time, he could see clearly that Sister Wang was wearing black trousers. "Get out," Sister Wang was not normally angry. Lin Feng quickly backed out, closed the door, and said in his heart, "Damn it, how do I know that a charming woman like you is changing her pants, otherwise I would have come half a minute earlier, I didn't even knock on the door, I just saw your moist place." At the same time, Lin Feng can also imagine that if this happens, Sister Wang may even have the heart to kill him, so it is inevitable to complain to Yaya. Lin Feng sat down on the sofa in the living room and panicked, wondering if Sister Wang, a woman who was so elegant that she never seemed to get mad, would become hysterical. Almost 10 minutes later, Lin Feng heard footsteps coming from the stairs. Sister Wang walked down. Not only did she change into new pants, she also changed into a long pink dress. Sister Wang is a very mature woman, her body is mature, her mind is mature, and the pink long dress adds a dreamy romance to her maturity. Maybe she's wearing this pink dress for the sake of beauty. Maybe she's wearing this pink dress for memory. Until now, Lin Feng only knew that Sister Wang was a divorced woman, but he didn't know much about Sister Wang's past, and he didn't know who and what happened if Sister Wang recalled it. Sister Wang came over and said coldly, "Lin Feng, I warn you, you are not allowed to enter my room casually. Even if you want to enter, you have to wait for me to open the door for you after knocking on the door. I opened the door for you and opened it myself, so what's the use of knocking on the door?" Lin Feng said, "I remember when I was in high school, if I was late for class and saw the teacher was giving a lecture on the podium, I called a report, and if he ignored me, I would push the door and go in by myself. I remember when I was in college, if when I was late for class and saw the teacher was giving a lecture on the podium, I didn't even call for a report, I just pushed the door open and walked in." Sister Wang said, "You little bastard, you are mad at me. What you broke into is not the classroom, but my bedroom. I am not your teacher, I am the nanny of this villa, and I am a private person." "Nanny?" Lin Feng said, "Then what happened just now?" Sister Wang said, "I forgot all about it, but I don't want you to mess around like this in the future. Don't think that no matter what you do, I will be very patient. If you make me lose patience, I won't be able to eat it. Go, you have to be clear, people who don't get angry easily are very powerful once they get angry, like me." Lin Feng said, "Okay." Sister Wang said, "I'm going to cook, you are not allowed to appear in the kitchen, otherwise you won't want to eat lunch." Lin Feng nodded slightly, and Sister Wang walked towards the kitchen with elegant steps. Lin Feng's in said, "A woman as talented as you must be very skilled, you should be on your own in Hung to company, but why did you go to Ye Zi's private villa to be a nanny?" Lin Feng soon wanted to be Ye Qingchen, Ye Qingchen's father, a successful man who likes beautiful women. He didn't know if there was any entanglement between Sister Wang's past and Ye Qingchen. After a brief thought, Lin Feng quickly ruled out this possibility. Maybe when Ye Qingchen saw Sister Wang, that thing was tough, but there should be no emotional entanglement between him and Sister Wang, otherwise, Sister Wang would not appeared in the private villa of the Leaves. Everything has a cause and then an effect. The causal relationship of Sister Wang's appearance here must be very complicated. But there is one thing that Lin Feng is absolutely certain of. Having a good relationship with Sister Wang, a charming woman, will do him no harm at all. I annoyed Sister Wang just now. Although Sister Wang did not punish him severely, she must have felt very uncomfortable. Lin Feng planned to show her when Sister Wang was cooking. Just now, Sister Wang said that he would not be allowed to go to the kitchen, but he did. Well, it should be nothing. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Peach Youth. Author, Su Kifeng. Chapter 310. Hearing the footsteps, Sister Wang knew that Lin Feng was already walking towards the kitchen. Her brows were slightly wrinkled, and she said in her heart, "Lin Feng, you little can really make a fuss. If you annoy me, look, I don't call Miss Ye. If you provoke other women, Ye may be very tolerant to you, but if you provoke me, Ye won't fix you." Lin Feng walked in, looked at Sister Wang's beautiful face, savoring the unique charm, and said with a smile, "Sister Wang, I made you angry just now. I'm sorry. I also remember what you said to me just now. Now I'm here to wash the vegetables. After all, I also want to eat the dishes you make, so I would be embarrassed if I didn't pay at all." There was a light smile at the corner of Sister Wang's mouth, but she quickly put away the smile, raised her slender legs and kicked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not dodge, and Sister Wang's foot fell on his thigh. It didn't take much effort, his body didn't even shake, but the part where Wang Ji kicked was very close to his thing, making his body even taller than before. Naturally, Sister Wang did not deliberately look at the outline of Lin Feng's part. Her beautiful face was covered with a sullen look, and said angrily, "It's okay, you don't need to be embarrassed, just sit in the living room and wait for dinner. Even if I wash the dishes myself cooking, the speed will not be slow." Lin Feng intends to say again, if Sister Wang still does not agree with him to stay in the kitchen, then he will go out. Lin Feng said with a smile, "I am a person who will feel very guilty once I make a mistake. You give me a chance to show it." Sister Wang did not continue to say anything, and cooked the vegetables very carefully. Her face was calm, and Lin Feng didn't see any waves on her face. Unable to determine what Sister Wang's attitude was at this time, he simply pretended that Sister Wang acquiesced to him to stay in the kitchen, and happily started washing dishes. Lin Feng washes real dishes, but he doesn't really wash dishes. He has been savoring the taste of Sister Wang. He not only savors the beauty and charm, but also the state of mind of Sister Wang. Sister Wang's treatment as a nanny in this luxurious mansion must be very high, depending on the clothes and shoes she wears. They are all international brands. She is very noble and well educated. People who don't know the situation will never think that such a woman will be a nanny, but will regard her as a lady or a female boss. Sister Wang's cooking skills are indeed very high, and the cooking speed is good and fast, before a few dishes are ready. The rice in the rice cooker was ready ahead of time. Lin Feng and Sister Wang brought several dishes to the table together. Sister Wang quickly walked towards the kitchen and brought rice into 2 bowls. The rice was all served, so naturally Sister Wang would not accompany him to drink, and Lin Feng felt a little depressed. Because drinking with a charming woman like Sister Wang, whether you drink white beer or red, is a very romantic thing. During the meal, Lin Feng repeatedly praised that the dishes made by Sister Wang were delicious, but Sister Wang did not respond much. I didn't chat with Lin Feng at the dining table either, and went upstairs after finishing the meal. Lin Feng did not follow. Because he knew that he had already upset Sister Wang, a charming woman. Sister Wang made him happy, but he made Sister Wang very upset. Originally, he wanted to have a good relationship with Sister Wang, but he made Sister Wang unhappy in advance. The most urgent thing is to do something to make Sister Wang feel good. Kissing her and touching her will definitely not work, it will make her crazy, and Miss Yeye is very he'll find out soon, and he'll be coming over like a hurricane to fix him. Before thinking of a suitable solution, calmness is the most sensible. Lin Feng can only sit in the living room and watch TV. The beautiful stars in the talk show can arouse his desire, but his mind is not on the TV show at all. He really wanted to code. Since he came to this luxurious villa, he hadn't coded a word, and in the fragrant atmosphere, the feeling of wasting time is also very real. Only code words will enrich him, but if he starts typing on the keyboard, will Sister Wang find out immediately? Half an hour later, Lin Feng left the living room, went upstairs to his room, and glanced at the computer. He didn't turn on the computer first, but lay down on the bed and went to sleep. In Sister Wang's room, she first lay on the bed in casual clothes, and soon felt uncomfortable. After a moment of hesitation, she changed the casual clothes into nightgowns, and when she lay back on the bed, she felt much more comfortable. With her towering chest facing the ceiling, Sister Wang's eyes were blurred. She quickly thought of a very serious question. What is that kid Lin Feng doing? Has he started typing on the keyboard? If Linfeng has already started coding, it is her dereliction of duty. In any case, let Linfeng delete the text that has been coded. Sister Wang got out of bed quickly, and ran out wearing slippers. She didn't see Linfeng in the living room first. She was even more nervous. She ran upstairs and knocked on the door of Linfeng's room. Linfeng, who was lying on the bed, was not sleepy at all. He got out of bed when he heard the knock on the door, walked over to open the door, and said with a smile, "Sister Wang, I'm going to take a lunch break, do you have anything to do with me? Do you want me to accompany you? Play chess." Sister Wang glanced at Linfeng's face, and then glanced at the computer again, seeing that the computer was turned off, and thinking about the speed at which Linfeng opened the door just now, he concluded that Linfeng didn't open the computer, so he couldn't code words. Sister Wang walked into Linfeng's room, walked gracefully to the edge of the sofa and sat down. The charming Sister Wang sat on the sofa in his room wearing a soft and loose night dress, which made Linfeng very uncomfortable. Not calm, how comfortable it would be if he could put this rather tasteful woman in his arms and tease him, but he couldn't do that easily. I can't tease her, but I can sit beside her completely. Linfeng sat next to Sister Wang and smiled. Actually, you also want to take a lunch break. You are just afraid of me typing. Sister Wang said, "It's good for you to know, and I have to remind you that it's only good for you not to hurt you if you don't code while living here." Linfeng was very excited, "But my book will be broken, which is a big disadvantage for me, and will make my readers doubt my character. You can call Yezi now, if you really want to punish me, then beat me hard, don't use this kind of soft violence." Sister Wang exhaled a sigh of aroma while sighing lightly, but her eyes were much more soothing. She looked at Linfeng's face very warmly, and her voice was very sweet. "Then have you ever thought about a question? Even if the leaves when you are a friend, your attitude is very likely to anger her. If she finds someone to beat you seriously, you can't even move, and you still can't code. Just like what you've done before, Stand Yezi's position should be considered. It's enough for her to treat you like this, you don't know what's good or bad." Naturally, Linfeng also thought about this issue. If he was Ye, then he would use very cruel means to deal with the person who was so cynic and angry many times, but until now, Ye didn't seem to use very cruel methods. Means to deal with him. Linfeng said, "Sister Wang, I use my personality to guarantee that I will not code during my stay here, not even a single word." Sister Wang said, "But I'm not sure what your personality is like." Linfeng said, "Although I've eaten Beauty's tofu before, my personality is still okay." Since Linfeng said so, then he should not be able to code today, and he will most likely code when he is about to break the watch, and it is not yet time for him to break the watch. Sister Wang said, "I'm a little tired. Go and rest for a while. I don't know how you slept last night. You'd better rest for a while." Sister Wang walked out, but her scent was still wafting in the room. Linfeng tasted and lay on the bed for a moment. Gradually, he really fell asleep. Dainan asked Ye to meet. Ye Zhen agreed to meet with Dainan, and chose a very high-end coffee shop. Dainan had already sat in the taxi and hurried towards the cafe, feeling very uneasy. He didn't know how Ye would treat her after meeting. In one case, even if he chose to meet at the cafe, he would walk into the cafe with her, and if Ye looked unhappy with her, he might let her get in the car outside the cafe, and then take her to a remote place for a repair. What's more, even if she really sits with Ye at the cafe, when Ye hears what she says, Ye may become furious in an instant, and then she will be repaired. In short, when she comes to see Ye this time, it may be 80% repaired. Above. If it wasn't for Linfeng, Dainan would hide from a rich and powerful young lady like Ye in her life. Naturally, she would not do anything to challenge her, but now Linfeng is very likely to be in Ye's hands. She must do this. Do. Dinan saw the leaves. Yezi is wearing a very high-end dress, slender and graceful, with a light smile, the noble charm diffuses. Dinan can only admit once again the daughter of the big boss Yeching Chen, Yezi is very good beauty. In Yezi's eyes, Dinan, a woman with no status, is also very beautiful, especially her figure, which is very hot, belonging to the kind of figure that can easily make a man's body burn. In this era, the distance between Nan and Yezi is less than 2 meters, and they are both staring at each other's faces. In comparison, Dinan's heart is very flustered, but Yezi's heart is very calm, and Dinan also wants to show a strong aura, but she has already covered Ye's aura. Yezi said, "Let's go in." Okay. Dinan smiled slightly, and walked into the coffee shop with Ye. Without stopping on the first floor, he went directly to the second floor and walked into the private room. This is a private room with floor-to-ceiling windows. It is luxurious and elegant. It is suitable for business negotiation and love between men and women, but Dinan and Ye are not one of them. The ideas that have been brewed are a bit messy. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read. Peach Youth. Author, Sci-fi. Chapter 311. Yezi said, "What coffee do you want to drink?" Dinan said, "I'll drink whatever you want." Ye looked at the waiter, 2 cups of Blue Mountain coffee, no sugar. The waiter went out, and Ye looked at Dinan's face again. "You asked me to meet, so I can't just ask you, you have to say what you want to say, otherwise it will be meaningless for you to ask me to meet this time." Already. The panic in her heart made Dinan smile a little unnatural. She originally wanted to be calm and brave, but she couldn't satisfy herself with her performance at this time. Maybe Miss Ye was already laughing at her in her heart. Dinan said, "Is Linfeng in your hands?" Linfeng said, "Linfeng asked me to go, but I can't say that he is in my hands, because I didn't catch him, and I didn't abuse him. Just let him enjoy a few days somewhere, and then it will appear in front of you unscathed." Although Dinan was flustered, she heard the key point clearly. Linfeng did let Ye go away, and Ye said that Linfeng was going to enjoy the happiness, and he would come back unscathed in a few days. Dinan said, "Why did you invite him to that place?" Yezi said, "Because I want to." Dinan got angry, slapped the table, and said coldly, Zi, are you a little too domineering? You think you are a rich lady and do whatever you want, you think your father is at Yeching Chen that you can't be lawless. You must tell me where you got Linfeng, or I will. Yezi felt that she was polite enough to Dinan, but Dinan still lost her temper. Her face sank, and she said coldly, "Dinan, you'd better not slap the table and stare at me and shout loudly, because you don't have the qualifications. It's already a lot of face for me to meet you, don't you just care? Is Linfeng's safety? I told you clearly just now that Linfeng will not be in any danger, what else do you think?" Dinan gasped for a moment, her anger calmed down temporarily, and she thought about it. It's not unreasonable for Ye to say that she is most concerned about Linfeng's safety. Ye also told her just now that Linfeng will be unscathed. There were sparkling tears in Dinan's eyes, and he said with a weeping voice, "I'm sorry, Yezi, maybe I really shouldn't have lost my temper with you just now. But I don't know where Linfeng has gone, and I'm not at ease, I beg you. Now, tell me." Ye didn't tell Dinan where Linfeng was, but asked a very wet question, "Have you had a lot of ambiguity with Linfeng before?" Dinan did not deny, "I have." Yezi said, "You have done that kind of thing with him many times, and he makes you very comfortable. So you are very attached to him, so you are afraid that he will be in danger." Dinan was a little excited, "No. Although Linfeng and I have had an affair, We have never done that kind of thing, because. Yezi smiled and said, because of what? Because he was very tall and straight. You will soften when you see it. I really want to do it, but I can't do it anyway. This is teasing. Miss Yaya actually teased her with a wet topic. This is what Dinan didn't think of before meeting Yaya. In her opinion, it is unlikely that a young lady with status like Yezi would bring up these topics to chat with someone who is not very familiar with each other, but this is what Yaya is talking about with her now. Dinan said, Lin Feng must have the ability to handle things with me. His ability is very strong. He is all-weather, 24 hours a day, and he can lift his gun whenever he wants to go to the battlefield. The reason why he didn't do that kind of thing is because he didn't want to hurt me, and secondly, I didn't want to destroy each other's friendship. Yezi originally thought that Lin Feng and Dinan had done it many times, and they did it in different places, sometimes romantic, sometimes fiery, sometimes primitive, but after hearing what Dinan just said, after careful analysis, Yezi started I believe that Lin Feng and Dinan may have kissed and touched many times, but they did not have a relationship. This is definitely a miracle. Lin Feng was provoked many times by Dinan, a beautiful and hot woman, but his gun didn't go off. Dinan said, can you take me to see Lin Feng? Yezi said, no. Dinan said, why? Yezi said, because the place where Lin Feng went, only my friends can go. You are not my friend, so you can't go. Dinan said, it seems that I'm not qualified to go to that special place, but is Lin Feng your friend? You can't wait to repair him to the point where his body is completely broken, how can you consider him a friend? Yezi smiled and said, then you are wrong, I can tell you clearly now, I think Lin Feng is a friend, and a very good friend. It does not mean that a good friend is a good friend who has communicated with each other a lot, even if there is little communication with each other, and possibly good friends. Lin Feng and Yaya don't see each other very often, but only occasionally. Naturally, there is very little communication. Are the two of them good friends who have little communication? Dinan pondered so much and began to stare at Yezi's face. 2 minutes later, Dinan was still staring at Yezi's face. Yaya was very calm at first, but gradually, her face became a little hot, and her eyes were a little erratic. She said, you played the game of love with Li Xingguo's wife Zhao Fei before, I don't know your addiction. Did you do it again? If your eyes don't leave my face, I'll give you a slap in the face. Dinan said, you can rest assured, I have completely changed, I just want to see you for a while. Hearing a slap, Yaya really gave Dinan a slap in the face. It seemed that he didn't use much force, but the slap was heavy enough that Dinan's head was tilted to one side, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. Dinan didn't fight back. First of all, she was not Yezi's opponent at all. Yezi knew Kung Fu but she didn't. Even if Yezi wanted to kill her, it would not be difficult. Secondly, Dinan didn't want to make the situation worse. The heart will be truly at ease. Dinan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and stared at Yezi's face again. If I offend you, if you haven't had enough of it, you can continue to fight. Not interested in. Yezi got up and took the bag and walked out. Dinan could only walk out of this luxurious and elegant room. She didn't drink Blue Mountain coffee, but she was slapped in the face. Seeing Yezi driving away in a luxury car, Dinan's tears flowed down. At this time, she didn't want to be an ordinary person anymore, she also wanted to be a very rich person who wants to become a person with status and status. Several empty cars drove past Dinan, but she didn't reach out to stop her, her tears kept flowing, she was very confused, and the surroundings were bustling, but she almost didn't know who she was. This state lasted for more than half an hour, and then Dinan got into a taxi. The destination was a place she was very familiar with. It was a small shop jointly opened by her and Lin Feng. She had always hoped that the area would be small enough to be easily overlooked, can do wonders in her life. Yezi drove to her private villa. At this time, Lin Feng was still sleeping on the bed, and Sister Wang was already sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV. Sister Wang found that Yezi's expression was a bit strange, and asked in doubt, Yeah, what's wrong with you? I think your face is a little abnormal. Yezi sat next to Sister Wang and smiled. I met a very special person, the beauty who opened a small shop with Lin Feng. Sister Wang said with a relieved smile, You are talking about Dainan, the lead dancer at Mengfi Yang Disco before. I used to play with you and I seem to have said that that girl dances amazingly. Yezideo, Dainan dances very well. She is probably the top dancer that has appeared in Mengfi Yang Disco from its opening to the present, but what surprises me now is not Dainan's dancing, but her relationship with Lin Feng. She is very loyal to Lin Feng, she is using her life to associate with Lin Feng. When Ye spent 2 minutes telling the real scene of her meeting with Dainan, Sister Wang, a charming woman with a deep understanding of the world, was also quite surprised. Sister Wang said leisurely, A man and a woman, who have never had that kind of thing with each other, are able to communicate with each other through life. It's not easy. Yezi, you shouldn't slap Dainan in the face, although Dainan has done very bad things before. But I admire her very much. How about you? Yezi hugged Sister Wang and smiled. Even a woman of the highest quality like you, Sister Wang admires her, and I definitely admire her, but I don't know why. I slapped Dainan and slapped her pretty face. Come on, I'm cool. Apart from being cool, your heart is not at all uncomfortable. No one knows your kindness better than Sister Wang. To be honest, seeing her bleeding from the corner of her mouth made me feel very sad. She never provokes me before, and what she did this time was very courageous. I shouldn't have hit her, but I just hit her. I got her, Yezi said. Oh, by the way, what about that Lin Feng? Sister Wang said, Don't you think that Lin Feng is a friend? Why do you always say that he is a bastard? Yezi said, He is my friend but he is also a bastard. Where did he go? Sister Wang said, Don't worry, he didn't run out of the villa. Even if he wants to go out, I have no room for accommodation here. He is sleeping in his room. Yezi said, Are you coding or sleeping? Sister Wang said, Sleep. Maybe Lin Feng was not sleeping at all, but was coding. At this time, the keyboard was rattling, and lines of words appeared in the document, and then Lin Feng was transferred to a certain space through the network. Yezi walked upstairs quickly, because the steps were too fast. The gorgeous long skirt would fly up, but this long skirt was double layered when it reached the thigh, and it was not easy to disappear. Without knocking, he pushed open the door and walked in. Lin Feng, who was originally lying on the bed, sat up instantly and smiled at Yezizi. Did you think I was typing? Are you scared? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to the starting point, to vote for recommendation and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile users, please go to to read.